Perfect. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Herrera. I am a nurse practitioner who is going to be in charge of presenting to you this title, very enticing, I should say, COVID-19, dedication is the best protection. For those who just join in, please make sure that you have your microphones off. I will be reading any comments or any questions through the presentation. And of course, I will be checking to see if you have any questions. Welcome, everybody. To start, today we're going to be reviewing a lot of the questions that you may have, and during the presentation I know that I'm going to be covering some of them, but if you have any questions whatsoever, please make sure that you just send that to us. Why should I get vaccinated is one of the questions that I usually receive in my practice. By the way, this presentation is going to be done in English and in Spanish, so this presentation is going to be recorded as well, and therefore we're going to take a little longer, but I'm going to make sure that you understand and I go directly to the point. So why should I get vaccinated? ¿Por qué debo vacunarme? The viruses are still with us, and I'm saying are because there is one type of virus, right? It's the COVID-19 virus with different variants. The virus is still with us, it's around us. El virus no ha desaparecido. Y digo de esta manera porque hay muchas variantes, pero todavía tenemos un COVID-19 que tiene muchas variantes que están presentes ahora y se encuentran a nuestro alrededor. What are those variants? Viruses constantly mutate, change, hence new variants are expected to occur. Some emerge and disappear, some others persist. Multiple variants of COVID-19 have been identified in the United States and globally. Scientists monitor these changes to learn how the viruses act, how they spread, and how sick the people are going to get if they get them. Las variantes. Los viruses mutan, cambian, creando nuevas variantes. Unas aparecen, otras se van, otras se quedan. Muchas variantes se han identificado y los científicos hoy por hoy están monitoreando para saber cómo actúan, cómo se contagian y qué efecto tienen si en verdad tú llegas a contagiarte. The CDC tracks variants circulating in the United States and provide estimate of how common they are and the location. So far, the most common across the country is the B117, also known as the United Kingdom variant. Unfortunately, as you may know, Delta variant, the B16172, also known as the Indian variant, is now the variant of concern. This is the most contagious yet, may produce more serious disease and poses a significant threat to those who are not vaccinated. We just received as well the news that we have a new variant that is called the Epsilon Variant. It's being studied and is located in California so far. Vaccines have shown to be highly effective against the Delta variants and the other previously, the known variants as well. Las variantes. El CDC revisa las variantes circulantes y provee un estimado de comunalidad y la ubicación de estas variantes. La más común es la B117, llamada variante del Reino Unido. También tenemos otra variante, que es la variante Delta, la B1672, llamada también la variante de la India. Esta variante es de preocupación. Esta es hasta ahora la más contagiosa, puede producir enfermedades más problemáticas, puede ser más peligrosa para la gente que no se ha vacunado. Hoy por hoy tenemos otra variante llamada la variante Epsilon, que se está presentando en California y la están estudiando. Las vacunas han sido hasta ahora muy efectivas en contra de la variante Delta y de las variantes anteriores. Now, an increase in the number of cases will put more strain in healthcare resources, lead to more hospitalizations, and potentially more deaths. So far, studies suggest that the current authorized vaccines work in any of the circulating variants. Un incremento en el número de casos puede ser el problema de mermar los recursos médicos, aumentar las hospitalizaciones y potencialmente muertes. Hasta ahora, los estudios sugieren que las vacunas autorizadas trabajan en contra de las variantes que están circulando. Let me show you some statistics. The death toll so far, this is as up to a couple of weeks actually ago, I'm very sorry about that, is 600,000. We are a little bit more than that now. The number of people, and this is according to the CDC, 61% of people have died in the race of white individuals or Caucasian individuals, 19% of Hispanics, 15% of Blacks, and 4% of Asians. Now, don't be foolish by the number that you see in there, right? Because as you know, the majority of people living in the United States are Caucasian. They are still the majority. So 61% is the majority of people from that huge group of people. Now, if you see those numbers of the minorities, it's a huge number as well. El número de muertos en los Estados Unidos está variando aproximadamente en los 600,000. Mil disculpas, este número viene traído desde un par de semanas atrás. Pero seguimos aumentando. Si contamos exactamente de este porcentaje, del porcentaje total de los 600,000 o más que han estado muriendo, 61% de personas de la raza blanca han fallecido. 19% son hispanos, 15% son de la raza negra y 4% son asiáticos. Ahora, es importante recordar que la mayoría de personas que viven en los Estados Unidos son de la raza blanca. Por tal razón, el número es tan grande. Así que no pienses que no nos está afectando a las minorías. So, you would say by logical thought, as African American or Hispanic are younger on average than Caucasians, they would be less likely to die from a disease that affect the elderly, right? I have to say that is wrong. That is not happening. Al pensamiento lógico, para nosotros, la gente afroamericana y los hispanos, que somos más jóvenes que usualmente la mayoría de caucásicos, pues deberían no morir tanto como ellos, ¿verdad? Ya que se afecta mayormente a las personas mayores. Pues lastimosamente esto no es correcto. Y vas a ver por qué. According to the CDC, Native Americans, Latinos, and Blacks are 2/3 times more likely than white people to die from COVID-19. 37% of Hispanic, approximately 37% of Hispanic deaths younger than 65% of years of age. Meaning, if you are 65 or younger, you can die more easily. 37% of those deaths are actually from Hispanics, 12% from whites, and 30% from blacks. Hispanic people between 30 to 39 years of age died 5 more times than whites in the same age group. So es importante recordar que los nativos americanos, los latinos y las personas afroamericanas son más propensas a morir por el COVID en un 2/3 más que las personas blancas. 37% de los hispanos mueren más jóvenes de 65 años, comparado con grupos de la raza blanca que son solamente 12% o los afroamericanos del 30%. Los hispanos entre 30 a 39 años mueren 5 veces más que las personas de la raza blanca. So, the vaccination rates, and this is a statistic that unfortunately affects us. Why? Because, and I'm talking about the minorities, Black and Latinos are lagging behind. And reasons may include work, because they fear of having to miss work due to side effects, history of discrimination and practices in research, fears of deporting among undocumented individuals, and social media disinformation. Los porcentajes de vacunación son definitivamente tremendos y no son tan buenos para las personas afroamericanas y latinos. Con decirles que nosotros somos quienes estamos no siendo vacunados como deberíamos. Y las razones incluyen el miedo a tener que perder un día de trabajo por los efectos secundarios, la historia de discriminación y también esos problemas que hubieron anteriormente en la que hacían investigación en grupos étnicos afroamericanos, el miedo de la deportación entre la gente indocumentada y por supuesto también la desinformación que está proveída por las social media, ¿no? O los medios de comunicación masiva que ahora existen. Then, why should I get vaccinated? ¿Por qué debo vacunarme? ¿Todavía te preguntas? Are you still asking that question? Well, we have been living in COVID times for more than a year. Unfortunately, as you probably know, we have been living in social distancing, always practicing the distance of 6 feet away, right? Hemos vivido en tiempo de COVID por más de un año ya. Y pues hemos estado sufriendo con esta distancia social de 6 pies. Nosotros, we have to be working with a mask on at all times. Tenemos que estar usando esa bendita mascarilla todo el tiempo. Now we're seeing this type of meetings, right? Everybody should be in front of me trying to ask questions, but no. What we have now is the opportunity only through Zoom to communicate. Ahora nosotros nos podemos comunicar solamente por Zoom y otro tipo de estas plataformas para hacer los meetings, en lugar de estar haciéndolo persona a persona. And the most important reason I consider is that we want to return to normal. Yo considero que una de las razones más importantes es definitivamente porque queremos regresar a la normalidad. Al menos yo sí. At least I think so, right? Well, vaccine don't just protect yourself, and this is something that is important. Most vaccines preventable diseases are spread from person to person. If one person in a community gets an infectious disease, he can spread it to others who are not immune. So, es algo muy importante. Las vacunas no solo te protegen a ti. La mayoría de enfermedades que se previenen con vacunas son transmitidas de persona a persona. Así que si una persona en tu comunidad tiene una enfermedad infecciosa, va a transmitirse rápidamente entre las personas que no son inmunizadas. But a person who is immune to a disease because he or she has been vaccinated can get that disease and cannot spread to others. So it's important. If you get vaccinated, you're not able to spread it to others. Por otro lado, la persona que tiene inmunidad a la enfermedad porque recibió una vacuna no puede enfermarse y sobre todo no puede transmitir esta enfermedad a otras personas. Therefore, the more people who are vaccinated, the fewer opportunities a disease has to spread. Entonces, mientras menos personas sean vacunadas, muchas menos oportunidades para esta enfermedad para que se pueda transmitir y seguir contagiando. So, I want to be sure that you take home facts so you can make your decisions on non-fictional facts. So, voy a darte información para que tomes una decisión educada, es decir, para que decidas conscientemente lo que tienes que hacer. First of all, the vaccine is not going to produce any DNA changes in you. By this time, you have seen people who have had the vaccine for more than 6-7 months, and they're still being the same. As you can see, I don't have an extra eye or an extra arm. I'm not part of the X-Men yet, right? Primero, la vacuna no va a cambiarte, no va a mutar tu ADN. Lastimosamente o beneficiosamente, ya para este punto, tú debes haber conocido personas que recibieron la vacuna hace 7-8 meses atrás y que no tienen ningún problema. Mira, yo soy uno de ellos. Todavía no tengo un extra ojo ni tampoco tengo superpoderes como los hombres X. The vaccine is not going to be able to give you any other viral infections such as HIV, flu, HPV, hepatitis. La vacuna no puede darte otro tipo de infección viral, como el VIH, el flu, la hepatitis, etc. The vaccine is not going to make you trackable. La vacuna no puede hacerte que el gobierno pueda detectar dónde estás. The vaccine cannot give you COVID-19. La vacuna no puede darte el COVID-19. The vaccine is not going to make you a magnet. La vacuna no te va a convertir en un imán. And I have to stop right here for 1 second. There is a lot of thoughts, especially in social media, that tells you those stories about people who come with a phone and try to stick themselves with, well, actually put the phones next to their arms and they stick to it. I had the opportunity of seeing somebody who actually came to one of the appointments and was saying that. So I cleaned her skin with a little bit of alcohol and the stickiness, run off. It is not the magnets, it's actually what or how you care for your skin. So esto voy a hacer una pequeña parada. Alguien vino a mi consulta y exactamente decía que se le pegaba el teléfono y cosas a la piel en lugar de la vacuna. So lo que hice fue limpiarle bien la piel y pues nos dimos cuenta que no era el producto de la vacuna, sino el cuidado que le daba a la piel. One thing that is important for you to remember is that this vaccine process, it is not a rush job, meaning we took our time to develop this vaccine. I'm going to take a couple of minutes in a couple of minutes to talk about that. And you will see why it was not a rush job. Estas vacunas no fueron hechas al apuro. En instantes voy a estar hablando acerca de ello y van a saber exactamente a lo que me refiero. No se hicieron al apuro estas vacunas. So, home facts. Vaccine gives you protection. It's going to provide you with going back to your previous life. It's going to allow you to have some parties, go to vacations. The kids are going to be able to have sleepovers. And above all, I don't know about you guys, but I do miss that comfort zone of having somebody to give you or give a hug or a kiss. And that is what we're aiming for with the vaccines. So, los hechos. La vacuna te va a dar protección, va a regresar tu vida a la normalidad, te va a dar la oportunidad de tener fiestas, ir de vacaciones, pueden los niños tener pijamadas en casa y sobre todas las cosas, no sé para ustedes, pero se extraña el hecho de poder darles un beso o un abrazo a esa persona que tanto amas. Eso podemos regresar a hacer si es que tenemos las vacunas puestas. So, is it risky business? Yes, it is. So, ¿es un riesgo grande? Sí lo es. El gran riesgo, there is a greater risk on getting COVID-19 than getting vaccinated. And that's a risky business. So once again, you can get the COVID-19 and have a lot of problems instead of just getting the vaccine. Hay más riesgos al contagiarte de COVID-19 que al vacunarte. So, first of all, waiting is not an option. Esperar no es una opción. We have to try to do as much as we can and do it now. Because otherwise, as I said before, the virus keeps changing. And we are going to be the ones that are going to be closing down again, having to wear masks all over the place, and going back to where it was a year ago. Tenemos que hacer las cosas rápidamente, porque si no, caso contrario, vamos a volver otra vez al mismo lugar donde estábamos hace un año atrás, en donde todo estaba cerrado, teníamos que usar máscaras, no podíamos hacer nada. Remember one thing, I want to make sure that I point this out to you guys. Betting on everyone around you, this is the greatest risk. So if you're waiting for everybody else to get vaccinated to protect you, or make sure that they wear a mask when they were not vaccinated to protect you, or if they are sick, they're going to tell you, believe it or not, that is not happening. Confiar en otros es un riesgo demasiado alto. Y te lo digo de esta manera, porque si es que tú no tienes la vacuna y estás esperando que todo el resto pues se proteja, se cuide, se vacune, déjame decirte que eso no ocurre. Y lastimosamente hay muchos más problemas. Remember, everyone deserves the American promise, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Vaccine offers protection from the debilitating conditions of COVID-19. And unfortunately, the minorities, especially African Americans, Latinos, we are really hard hit by the COVID, harder than any other race. So it is important for us to make sure that we get vaccinated. Todos merecemos la promesa de esa vida americana, de una buena vida, libre, feliz. La vacuna ofrece protección en contra de las condiciones debilitantes del COVID-19 y es importante recordar que lastimosamente nosotros, los afroamericanos y los latinos, somos la raza que más golpeada ha sido por causa de COVID. So, both this disease and the vaccines are new. This is something that everybody keeps asking me. For how long am I going to be protected if I get COVID or if I get the vaccine? We don't know for how long the protection lasts, for those who get infected or for those who are vaccinated. What we know is that COVID-19 has caused very serious illnesses, death for a lot of people. If you get COVID-19, you also risk giving it to a loved one who may be very sick. If you have an elderly at home, or even if you have a fragile individual at home, you can kill them. Nosotros no sabemos cuánto va a durar la efectividad de la vacuna, por cuánto tiempo te va a proteger. Ni para los que ya les dio el COVID, ni tampoco para los que fueron vacunados. Lo único que sí sabemos es que el COVID-19 ha afectado y ha matado muchísimos. Si te contagias con el COVID, tienes el riesgo de llevarlo a casa y transferirlo a las personas que tanto amas. Y si tienes alguna persona que tiene alguna enfermedad grave, puedes matarlo. So, getting vaccinated is the safer choice. Entonces, la vacuna es la opción más segura que tenemos. The next question that we have is, what is? ¿Qué es? So, vaccines. This is the basics of the vaccines. What does it contain? So in the past, the vaccines were supposed to have the germ, whatever it was that is causing, right? And they weakened, break the germ in a little pieces, and they just put in you so you can stimulate your immune system for your body to develop immunity, right? Without having the disease first. But remember, the vaccines don't cure the disease. The vaccines prevent the disease. Ahora, ¿qué es lo que contiene? Lo básico de las vacunas. Las vacunas anteriormente se hacían cogiendo el germen, cualquiera sea el que produce la enfermedad, y le hacían pedazos o le debilitaban y te lo inyectaban para que tu sistema inmune se estimule y crea defensas en contra de este patógeno, cualquiera sea. El cuerpo generaba la inmunidad sin que te enfermes y pues podías pelear en caso que te enfrentabas a ella. Ahora, las vacunas, recuerda algo muy importante, no curan. Las vacunas previenen la enfermedad. This is something important. Remember, vaccines don't cure, they prevent diseases. But the new vaccines, everybody keeps saying about it, right? It's the new vaccine, the new way of doing the vaccines. The mRNA vaccines are the COVID vaccines, right? Now, the COVID vaccines or the mRNA vaccines, first of all, I have to say, they have had this type of making the vaccines for a really long time. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. But the mRNA vaccines teach our cells how to make a protein, or even just by giving them a little protein of the virus, it helps us to trigger the immune system or the immune response in our bodies to protect us against the virus. Thus, it cannot give you the COVID. Remember, this is important. What they did with the COVID is actually take a little piece. If you want, just as a matter of example, if somebody took your thumb with your fingerprints, so the virus can recognize. So this is just the fingerprint of the virus, and that's what is in the vaccine. Once again, I am not going to be able to make you sick because it's not me. It's just a piece of me. And this is the protein that is internally put in your body when they give you the vaccine. So it is not going to be able to cause you or to give you the COVID-19. And remember, it is not going to be able to affect you or interact with your DNA in any form of way or shape. Once again, you're not going to be a zombie. You're not going to be an X-Men. You're not going to be a mutant, if you want to call it. Vacunas del RNA mensajero, que es lo más reciente que tenemos. Solamente para dejarte saber, este tipo de vacunas han estado con nosotros por mucho tiempo. Pero ¿qué es lo que hacen? Enseñan a nuestras células cómo protegerse, dándole una pequeña muestra. Es decir, en lugar de ponerte todo el virus que antes lo hacíamos, lo que hicieron es coger, si tú quieres, como por ejemplo, que te corten el dedo pulgar y tienes tus huellas digitales para reconocer quién es. Como te darás cuenta, el pulgar no puede enfermarte porque no es todo el cuerpo de la persona. Entonces lo que hicieron es cogieron el pulgar del virus, le pusieron en la vacuna y te lo inyectan. De esa manera tú generas una respuesta inmune para protegerte en contra del virus. Algo importante, esta vacuna no puede darte el COVID-19 por esta razón, porque no tienes el virus en tu cuerpo. Tampoco estas vacunas pueden interactuar con tu DNA o tu ADN porque no tienes el virus completo. No pueden hacerlo, no pueden mutarte, no pueden cambiarte. Researchers have been working with this type of vaccines, as I said before, for decades. We have examples of these vaccines. The flu, Zika, rabies, the cytomegalovirus. All of those vaccines have been created in the way that they did it with the COVID. The good thing is that they can be developed in a more, readily be available procedures. Therefore, we can actually standardize the process. We can make them faster, right? And we can make sure that we have more of the vaccines. Los investigadores han estado trabajando con estas vacunas por mucho tiempo. Ejemplos de estas vacunas del RNA mensajero incluye la del flu, Zika, la rabia, el virus del citomegalovirus, y pueden ser creadas en laboratorios, lo que hace que el proceso sea estandarizado, sea a mayor escala y mucho más rápido de la producción. We in the United States, we have 3 vaccines. By the way, if you have any questions, please make sure that you can send it in the chat. I will be checking the chat in a minute, and then I will be reviewing your questions. But let's continue with the presentation. We have 3 vaccines in the United States that they received. So those 3 vaccines received the FDA authorization. We have them. They are Pfizer, Moderna, and Janssen. Nosotros tenemos 3 vacunas en los Estados Unidos que recibieron la autorización para ser dada al público por parte de la FDA. Y estas son la Pfizer, Moderna y Janssen. Yes, a lot of people know Janssen as Johnson & Johnson or J&J, just so you know. Quiero aclarar que la vacuna de Janssen es también conocida como Johnson & Johnson y JJ, ¿no? One thing that you have to remember, all 3 vaccines are safe and highly effective against serious illnesses, hospitalizations, and deaths against COVID-19. The Pfizer and Moderna are vaccines that need 2 doses, approximately 3 to 4 weeks apart, and you need both doses to be effective. On the other hand, the Johnson & Johnson has only 1 dose. Benefits. Vaccination prevents complications from COVID-19. La vacuna previene, estos son los beneficios de la vacuna, previene complicaciones del COVID-19. All COVID-19 vaccines available in the United States have been shown to be very effective. Todas las vacunas que tenemos hoy por hoy aquí en la Unión Americana han demostrado ser muy efectivas. Getting vaccinated and following the CDC recommendations, including washing your hands, using a face mask, always keeping your distance, is going to be the best protection that we have. Vacunarse y seguir las recomendaciones del CDC te protegerán de mejor manera. Esto incluye lavarse las manos, la máscara y la distancia social. The more people who get vaccinated, the faster we can get back to our normal lives, and that's important for us to remember. Mientras más gente se vacune, más rápido volveremos a la normalidad. Let's do a quick comparison between the vaccines. Vamos a comparar las vacunas en este momento. So, the vaccine Pfizer received 43,448 participants before it was released to the market. Moderna, on the other hand, has 30,000 and change. Las vacunas de Pfizer y Moderna tuvieron cierto número de participantes, 43,400 en el caso de Pfizer y un poco más de 30,000 en la vacuna de Moderna. The effectiveness of these vaccines in the symptom prevention, 95% for Pfizer, 94.1% for Moderna. Number of shots, both of them, you need 2 shots. In the case of Pfizer, you need 21 days apart. In the case of Moderna, 28 days apart. El número de inyecciones que debes recibir para ser protegido. En el caso de Pfizer, necesitas 2 vacunas, 21 días separado la una de la otra. En el caso de Moderna, igualmente necesitas 2, pero con 28 días de diferencia. The dose that you need to receive is 30 micrograms in the case of Pfizer and 100 micrograms on the case of Moderna. Please, don't focus on the doses. It doesn't mean anything. La dosis de Moderna y de Pfizer es un poco diferente. 30 microgramos en el caso de Pfizer, 100 microgramos en el caso de Moderna. No te fijes en las dosis que la verdad no significan mucho. Common side effects. The common side effects that we have for both vaccines, and this actually includes for Johnson & Johnson as well. But if you want to know what the common side effects is, the first one, and the most common one I have seen in almost everybody of my patients, is just the pain in the site of injection. You know, it's a little bit painful as any other type of injection. But besides that, after the second dose, it's very common to have fatigue, headache, muscle ache, joint ache, fevers. That is very common after the second dose. I have to say, for some reason, that is mostly common in individuals who are males under the age of 45. Los efectos secundarios muy comunes. El más común de todos los efectos se presenta usualmente después de la segunda dosis de la vacuna, pero el más común de todos es definitivamente el dolor en el brazo que te inyectaron la vacuna. Después de eso vienen cosas como fatiga, dolor de cabeza, dolores musculares, dolores de las articulaciones y fiebre. I have to say though, esto ocurre usualmente en hombres menores de 45 años. I have to say, most of these side effects usually last 24 to 72 hours. Pretty much your body is telling you that, yes, we got it, and now you're free. Debo decirle que la mayoría de estos efectos secundarios duran de 24 a 72 horas. Es la forma en la que quizás tu cuerpo te dice, sí, lo tengo, ok, y estás listo. There are certain rare side effects. The first one is severe allergic reactions and Bell's palsy for Pfizer. And I have to add another one, that is pericarditis in younger males, 25 to 18. That's usually when the pericarditis occurs. In the case of Moderna, the rare side effect is Bell's palsy only. In the case of Johnson & Johnson, first of all, the symptom prevention is 66%. It's effective at preventing moderate to severe disease, and is 85% effective in preventing severe diseases after the vaccination, after the 28 days of vaccination. Number of shots, just 1. And the common side effects, as I mentioned before, injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle ache, joint pain, and fever, usually occur 1 to 2 days after the vaccine. En el caso de Johnson & Johnson, los síntomas, la prevención de síntomas está en un 66% para prevenir cosas que sean moderadas o severas. un 85% efectivo en prevenir muchas enfermedades después de los 28 días de haberte vacunado. El número de inyecciones, 1. Y los efectos secundarios, como le había dicho anteriormente, el lugar de la inyección te va a doler, fatiga, dolor de cabeza, dolores musculares, dolores articulares y fiebre. Usualmente esto ocurre 1 a 2 días después de la vacuna. So, I know that there's gonna be at least a question in here about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the reason why it was stopped, right? In April 13, the FDA and the CDC paused the use of this vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, because of a rare blood clot event after getting the vaccine. So, en español, en Spanish, el 13 de abril, la FDA y el CDC pausaron el uso de la vacuna porque 6 personas tuvieron un evento raro, un coágulo que se desarrolló después de haber recibido la vacuna. Scientists studied the data about these blood clots, who was likely to develop them, and what have caused them. Los científicos estudiaron para saber qué es lo que pudo haber ocurrido, quién podía haberlo tenido y qué pasó, por qué ocurrió. On April 23rd, the FDA and the CDC recommended its use again, as its very large benefits outweighed the small risks. En abril 23, la FDA y el CDC recomendaron otra vez su uso, porque se dieron cuenta que los beneficios excedían tremendamente a los posibles riesgos. The FDA and the CDC will continue to take side effects reports seriously and investigate severe reports. La FDA y la CDC continuarán siempre cogiendo los reportes y los efectos secundarios, especialmente si son severos. This actually was a great way of checking to see if what they are doing is correct or not. Okay, so I'm going to just take a quick peek on the chat to see if you guys had any questions. So far, no questions. I can continue. So the next question that I have for you guys, or probably from you guys, is how, right? How do we know if the vaccine is safe? ¿Cómo sé que las vacunas son verdaderamente exitosas y pueden usarse? Yo sé que van a preguntarse eso muchas personas. First of all, this is the way that the vaccines are developed. Primero que todo, esta es la forma en que todas las vacunas se hacen. Okay? First, a small group of people receive a trial vaccine. Un grupo pequeño de personas recibe la vacuna. Second, the vaccine is given to a specific groups of people, meaning they take an age group of people, then races, and then a specific type of physical conditions to make sure that there is not a problem with that. Segundo, la vacuna es administrada a grupos específicos, acuerdo de la raza, de la edad o inclusive del tipo de problemas de salud que pueden tener. Third, the vaccine is given to tens of thousands of people and tested for effectiveness and safety. La vacuna es administrada luego a miles de personas para que se pruebe su efectividad y su seguridad. Number 4, the CDC Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices looks at the data to see if the vaccine is safe and works. They give advice to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and they say, yes, it is safe. You can give us your approval. El CDC revisa todos los datos para confirmar que la vacuna es segura y funciona. Así pueden dar un consejo a la FDA. The FDA looks at the data and the advice from the advisory committee and decides whether or not to approve the vaccines. So remember, to this point, they have to check to see what happened with this small group of people, then what happened with the group specifics, then the 10,000s of people, and then they check the information from the CDC to say, yes, let's do it. Después de haber recibido este consejo, esta información y los consejos, la FDA decide si sí o no puede ser usada. Pero recuerda, para este punto debe haber pasado por darle la vacuna a un grupo pequeño, luego a un grupo específico, luego a las miles de personas, luego revisar la información del CDC y luego sí dicen sí, podemos darla o no, no podemos darla. The vaccine is only approved after all these steps are done. And what's the most important, various types of reviewers are sure that it's working and is safe. La vacuna se puede aprobar solamente después de que hayan pasado todos estos pasos. Y lo más importante, después de que muchos equipos se hayan reunido a revisar y se den cuenta de que sí, en verdad, la vacuna trabaja y puede ser usada seguramente. So, there are some people who actually said, then, how is it safe if it happens so fast? right? Muchas personas se preguntan, ¿cómo puede ser segura si lo hicieron tan rápido? Well, the timeline was speed up but never cut corners of safety. And here is how. Lo que es importante es que tienes que entender que sí, lo hicimos más rápido, pero nunca se fue por los lados o la tangente para tratar de llegar a este punto. Y esto es por qué. First, we already had helpful information about coronaviruses, so we weren't starting from scratch. Nosotros sabíamos y conocíamos acerca del coronavirus desde hace mucho tiempo atrás, así que no empezamos desde cero. Second, the US and other governments around the world invested a lot of money to support vaccine companies with their work. Los Estados Unidos y otros gobiernos invirtieron muchísimo dinero en ayudar a las compañías que hacen las vacunas para que puedan hacerla más rápido. Number 3, a lot of people participated in clinical trials, and we didn't have to try to spend time in finding people that wanted to be, the guinea pigs, if you want to call it. Mucha gente participó en las pruebas y no se necesitó perder tiempo en tratar de buscar voluntarios que quieran ser, pues, los conejillos de indias para saber si esto funcionaba o no. Manufacturing happened at the same time as safety studies were happening, so the vaccines were ready to be distributed once they were approved. Hacer las vacunas ocurrió al mismo tiempo mientras se estudiaba la seguridad de las vacunas. Entonces, apenas dijeron sí, ¿está seguro? Pues los lanzaron al mercado. Can I get COVID vaccine? And this is a can, but can I get COVID-19 from the COVID-19 vaccines? The answer is simple. No. The vaccines don't contain the live virus that causes the COVID-19. Therefore, you cannot catch the virus. It's impossible. Te preguntarás si puedes contagiarte del COVID si es que recibes la vacuna, y la respuesta es muy sencilla. No, no puedes hacerlo, porque no contiene el virus vivo. Entonces, no puedes contagiarte del virus. Something that is tremendously important for you to remember. If you were unprotected, right, you can get the COVID before you get the vaccine, even when you were waiting to get the vaccine, or when you were working or while shopping. So please remember that, and don't think that because you got the vaccine, then you got the COVID. Algo que es importante de recordar es que no porque te vayas a poner la vacuna en este momento ya estás completamente seguro. Te pudiste haber contagiado antes de llegar a ponerte la vacuna, o mientras esperabas a ponerte la vacuna, o mientras estabas trabajando o comprando cosas. Así que recuérdalo antes de decir nada. After getting the vaccine, when does it become effective? How long does it last? Well, después de vacunarme, ¿cuándo empieza a actuar y por cuánto dura? Es la pregunta. Well, first of all, you have to know that in a few weeks, the body starts building immunity. Few weeks. I want to make sure that you remember this, because if you go get the vaccine and you think you're protected, you are not protected yet. En par de semanas es cuando tu cuerpo empieza a tener inmunidad en contra del virus. Y quiero dejar esto claro, semanas. Así que si tú vas, te pones la vacuna y crees que estás protegido, no lo estás. That means it's possible a person could be infected with the virus that caused the COVID-19 just before or just after vaccination and get sick. This is because the vaccine has not had enough time to provide protection. Es decir, una persona puede infectarse antes de recibir la vacuna o justo después de recibir la vacuna, ya que la vacuna no ha tenido tiempo para proveer inmunidad. We don't know yet how long the COVID-19 vaccines will provide protections. No sabemos cuánto dura la protección del virus de la vacuna en nuestro cuerpo. Experts continue to conduct more studies about whether the vaccines also keep people from spreading COVID-19. Los expertos continúan haciendo estudios para determinar si la vacuna previene que la gente siga transmitiéndolo o no. I have to say, I haven't seen patients with COVID-19. I got the vaccine, and thank God, so far I haven't been, sick again with the COVID. Yo tengo que decir que he visto a muchas personas que tienen COVID y hasta el día de hoy, gracias a Dios, no me he contagiado del COVID después de haber recibido la vacuna. So, most common side effect or reactions of the COVID-19. ¿Cuáles los síntomas más comunes o las reacciones más comunes de el COVID o la vacuna del COVID? First, protection. Second, protection. Third, protection. And so forth. It's going to protect you. But yes, as I said before, there are some side effects that usually occur in the case of Moderna and Pfizer after the second shot, or in the case of Johnson & Johnson after the first shot. And those include sore arm, body aches, headache, fever, chills, and even a little nausea here and there. So, si me preguntas cuáles son los efectos secundarios más comunes, protección, 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 y seguimos con la protección. Pero sí, hay otros efectos secundarios que son muy comunes después de haber recibido la segunda dosis de la vacuna, en el caso de Pfizer y Moderna, y después de haber recibido la primera dosis o la única dosis de la Johnson & Johnson. Y estos son dolor en el brazo, dolores del cuerpo, dolor de cabeza, fiebre, escalofríos y náusea. Now, who? This is one of the greatest questions. ¿Quién? Who can get vaccinated? ¿Quién puede vacunarse? Anybody who is 12 years and older can get the vaccine now. Most people, hopefully soon, will be able to receive the vaccine. Only contraindication that we have is a severe allergic reaction, or also called as an anaphylactic reaction. ¿Quiénes pueden vacunarse otra vez? Las personas mayores de 12 años. Pronto, espero ya sea la mayoría de gente que va a ser, o todas las personas que van a ser elegibles para recibir las vacunas. La única contraindicación que tenemos es alergias severas o una alergia anafiláctica. Who can help me make decisions about the vaccine or getting the vaccine? If you have more questions about your health and about the vaccine, if you have to get the vaccine or not, talk to a trusted healthcare provider, like your doctor, a nurse practitioner, an insurance care manager, pharmacist, or community health worker. ¿Quién puede ayudarte a decidir sobre la vacuna? Si tienes más preguntas sobre tu salud o sobre si tomar o no la vacuna, habla con tu profesional de salud de confianza, como tu médico, enfermero, supervisor de seguro de salud, el farmacista o inclusive un trabajador de salud de la comunidad. If you need more information, please make sure that you actually go to this website where you can get all the print materials about it. Always try to get the information from resources that are valid. Don't get it from social media. Si necesitan más información, por favor vayan directamente a este portal en donde ustedes van a poder encontrar mayor información. Por favor, revisen la información que es probada, no solamente a través de las redes sociales. Now, where? Where can you get the vaccine? Really simple. If you want some information about the coronavirus vaccine, all you have to do is type this website, http, just portal.connecticut or ct.gov/coronavirus. All right, so portal.ct.gov/coronavirus. Si quieres recibir más información y saber dónde puedes recibir la vacuna, puedes ir a portal.ct.gov/coronavirus. If you ask me, where can you get vaccinated? Simple. Any health departments, pop-up vaccine clinics. There are even buses or bands that are going to different places where you can get the vaccine. Churches, arenas, pharmacies, schools, universities, community centers. ¿Dónde puedes vacunarte? En cualquier departamento de salud. Ahora tenemos clínicas que están en todo lado apareciendo. Inclusive hay carros que se dirigen a diferentes puntos de nuestra comunidad donde pueden darte la vacuna. Iglesias, lugares de conciertos, farmacias, escuelas, universidades, centros comunitarios. To learn more about it, please go to portal.ct.gov/coronavirus or go to the CDC and just look it up, COVID-19 vaccines. That's where you can get more information. So, what else? And this time, I'm going to just check to see if there is any questions. We're about to close the presentation. So this is your last chance to ask me those questions. I'm leaving the chat open. And even if you want, please make sure that you can open your microphone right now so you can interact with me, or if you have any questions, I can actually answer them. So, en este momento yo dejo abierto para que ustedes puedan comunicarse conmigo. El chat está abierto, pueden tipear su pregunta ahí o pueden hacer las preguntas directamente si quieren abrir su micrófono. So, es tiempo de hacerlo. Vamos a conversar directamente. Voy a esperar un par de minutos. Si es que las preguntas no se dan, pues sería el tiempo de cerrar la presentación. Perfect. Okay, I have a question. It says, are the schools prepared to provide the vaccine? even as of right now. So one of the things that we are actually checking is making sure, well, the state of Connecticut is working on a plan to do the vaccinations. Most likely, as you can imagine, the schools are closed right now, so they don't have anybody working. They don't have the equipment or the personnel to work, but they are gonna be doing it soon. So that question is a great question, first of all, and we have to wait for what we're going to happen probably by September. That's what I was told from the state of Connecticut. So, me acaban de hacer una pregunta acerca de si es que las escuelas están preparadas en este momento para dar vacunas. So, las vacunas en las escuelas, como están cerradas las vacunas en este momento, no tienen el personal para dar las vacunas directamente allá, pero sí para el mes de septiembre, según lo que está diciendo el estado de Connecticut con las preparaciones que están ocurriendo. So, I'm crossing my fingers that it's going to happen soon. Are kids allowed in schools without the COVID vaccine at 12 years and up? Los niños van a ser permitidos ir a la escuela sin tener la vacuna, sin haber recibido la vacuna, si tienen 12 años y para arriba. So that's one of the things that we are discussing at this moment. As you probably know right now, the cases in the state of Connecticut are rising. So the changes in policies can occur any moment, any time now. The state of Connecticut, the CDC is studying right now the possibility of, first of all, everybody wearing a mask, and things are changing. As you can probably California and the state of New York is mandated for all workers in the cities or municipal workers and etc., government workers to be vaccinated before they get to work. Most likely that is going to affect the decision as well for what is going to happen in the schools and etc., depending on the number of cases. This is always changing. You have to check the website, the CDC, specifically the DPH for us in Connecticut, with the development when the schools open. So, con respecto a la pregunta, los muchachos o los niños menores de 12 años para arriba que no han sido vacunados van a poder ir a la escuela. So, la respuesta es muy abierta en ese sentido porque todo está cambiando en este momento. Como deben saber, el estado de Connecticut está en este momento enfrentando una elevación de los casos dentro de personas que no han sido vacunadas. Entonces todo puede cambiar. Puede ser que ya, y esto está ocurriendo en Nueva York y en California, las personas que trabajan en los municipios, en agencias de gobierno, van a necesitar usar la mascarilla. Ellos van a tener que recibir la vacuna, inclusive van a ser obligados a tener que hacer pruebas muy seguido. So, esto va a cambiar demasiado. No tenemos la respuesta, pero sí cuando ya el tiempo venga, es decir, cuando ya la escuela se vuelva a abrir, el DPH o el Departamento de Salud de Connecticut se va a encargar de darnos las directivas para saber quiénes y cómo van a atender las escuelas los niños. But I have to urge you guys, if you have kids, make sure or try to understand that it's important for us to get for them to get the vaccines, to prevent them. There is a case actually of individuals who have issues with the toes, right? Kids develop problems with the toes. Kids younger than 12 of age, they are still having issues with vascular problems. So we have to protect them as well. The more people we have vaccinated, the better it's going to be for everybody. So, lo que les decía yo en inglés en este momento es que no esperen y que traten de ayudarnos a que se vacunen. Los niños menores están teniendo problemas o enfermedades vasculares en sus dedos y otros tipos de problemas. Entonces, mientras menos gente tenga el virus que le vaya a pasar y más gente se vacune, mucho mejor va a ser. Tanya, thank you very much for your questions. They have been really great. Thank you for I know that, and this is something that Tom is going to answer for us. So this says that this presentation needs to be shared with the parents. Agencies like ours are able to reach parents. Tanya, could you please tell me where and which agency are we talking about? So Tom, I'm going to actually leave you at the end so you can actually please tell them where this presentation is going to be. Family centers. Okay, thank you very much. In Stanford. Okay, thank you. Yes, I know that this presentation is going to be available and Tom is going to talk about that. If you guys don't have any questions, I can close my microphone and I can let Tom open his so he can talk about that. I have to say thank you very much for the opportunity of actually talking to you guys and for giving me your time. Muchísimas gracias por haberme dado la oportunidad de conversar con todos ustedes. Y pues Tom va a hablar acerca de cómo y dónde van a pasar esta presentación. Go ahead, Tom. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I have to say that's an excellent presentation. I thought I'd heard everything, but it was superb, and in 2 languages, no less. I mean, it's just amazing. Very good. I wish we had more people listening. As David mentioned, we are recording this tonight. It will be on some form of the Stratford Library website. But David, I'm also going to be sending it to all the folks that were involved with putting this together tonight. I guess that includes you. And I guess they're going to share it somehow. I don't know how that gets done, but hopefully it'll get out there to the people that really want it, because I really do think it's concise and I think you cover everything just brilliantly. So congratulations, and I hope more people get to see it through the video.
I appreciate truly, guys, for your time and opportunity. Tanya, thank you for the comment as well. I truly appreciate it. Muchas gracias a quienes nos están viendo, y pues gracias por su tiempo. Thank you very much, guys. I thank you. I can't say anything else.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.